Hello everyone, welcome to our webinar today. This is Timaya Kar. This webinar is organized by IEEE Region 8 Student Activities Committee. I'm chair of the committee. We have an amazing team supporting all student activities in our region. You may be familiar with our team members already, and we are doing this webinar series. And today we have a very important topic for all our students across the world, but we would like to support you if you're watching us. Thank you for being here. So today we will address how to write a technical document. And we have Vera Markovic, our Region 8 Student Paper Contest Coordinator and very experienced volunteer. And Vera will highlight and address the Student Paper Contest. And we have Esther Lucas, and she is IEEE Explore Trainer and also IEEE Client Service Manager, who will highlight actually the importance and give you very important tricks. So that's why we are so excited to listen this presentation and present you very shortly. So I would like to welcome Vera first to introduce the Student Paper Contest. Vera, floor is yours.
Thank you, Simai. I would like to share screen with you. My name is Vera Markovic, and I am coordinator of the Student Paper Contest. So it is very important to know, to be familiar how to write a technical paper, and it is especially important for this contest. I will introduce you very shortly what contest is that, and I will tell you a few words about this year's student paper contest. So, what is student paper contest? This is a very important traditional student competition which started in 1967 and lasts continuously over 50 years as a very important student activity in our region. It is competition of technical papers whose authors are student members of IEEE. Who can participate in that competition? Students who are student members or graduate student members, and it is important that they have not yet started their PhD study. Which characteristics of these papers? Papers submitted for this contest should cover technical and engineering aspects of any subject in technical areas which are covered by IEEE. It is also important to point out that this work, it is not necessary to be original from the aspect of science, of scientific content, but in some kind, this paper should present the author's contribution to some subject in some technical area of IEEE. Submitted papers are graded as follows. In the first phase of the competition, there is 70 points maximum for technical content and for technical presentation. And in second part, which is oral finals, students, finalists can get maximum 30 points. Papers of all 5 finalists selected in the first phase are published in the conference proceedings, and also they are included in IEEE Explore digital library. So 5 selected finalists are invited to present their paper to one of IEEE flagship conferences of Region 8. And all expenses related to travel and accommodation during this contest are covered by IEEE. Traditionally, this oral part of the contest is held during conferences Melicon or Eurocon, but this year we made an exception, and the reason is that we wanted to make this competition this year in person, if possible, because it is very important to students to meet, to see, to be present at the conference. So we made these efforts to gather students at one place. These are prizes. So this year, oral finals was at TELSIX 2021 conference in Niš in Serbia a few days ago, actually on October 21st. Format of this second part of student paper contest was hybrid because we didn't succeed to gather all of students. Actually, two students were not able to be present, and also two members of the jury. But still, most of participants of this student paper contest were here in Niš during the conference. So we organized this conference in hybrid form. The finalists were Eva Boneš from Slovenia, Olivier Leblanc from Belgium, Damjan Deniš from Serbia, Salman Mofid from Morocco, and Yazan Al-Nayar from United Arab Emirates. These are pictures from this year competition. So we were connected by our participants who were not here, who were online, by equipment, camera, and we have impressions like they are really here. So these are our finalists and our winners. This is the winner, the first place, and $800 won our participant, our finalist from Belgium, Olivier Leblanc. Second place, Eva Boneš from Slovenia, and $500. And third place got our finalist from United Arab Emirates, Yazan Al-Nayar, but he was not able to be present, unfortunately. So these are other finalists. This is, you can see atmosphere. These were gala dinner organized by conference organizer and by me. So we had nice opportunity to be together, to exchange our experience, and it was also very good, nice opportunity for participants to be present at the conference and to meet other finalists and jury members. Our student paper contest is a very important activity for Region 8. It is maybe a first opportunity for students to write a student paper and to present their work and their ideas, and to make maybe first steps into a world of science and research. So I think it is very important to organize this contest and to teach students how to write technical papers. Thank you for your attention.
Vera, thank you so much. It was very brief, wonderful presentation. So student paper contest is definitely one of the most important initiative from Region 8 to give this advantage to our students. And actually we have impact on everyone's life in our region, so on our members' life. So like it's an advantage for our members and volunteers. So we are happy to support this initiative traditionally across these years. And thank you so much presenting us what really happened recently. That is very encouraging and exciting. So like, and this is an opportunity now that you present the final actually. So really recently, you know, like it was a great opportunity to see the atmosphere there. So like what our students will experience also in the next one, and it's time to get prepared. So that's why we would like to highlight the importance of this event, and also not just for student paper contest, for all your academic life, you really need to understand the importance and how to write efficient technical article. So that's why we are having very important guests with Vera, Esther. So we'll hear how to write technical article from her. So we'd like to give floor to Esther and invite you for the presentation.
Thank you. Okay, so let's start. That's a huge topic. I will try to summarize some key points on that. Yes, thank you. So I am a member of a bigger team, and I'm just showing my team members to everyone listening and watching on YouTube. So I'm based in Region 8, so I'm based in Berlin. Originally, I'm from Hungary, and I work for the IEEE Vienna office. And I'm a member of an international team. I have two additional colleagues. One of them is Marcia Ferreira. She covers Spanish-speaking countries and Portugal as well. She offers very similar presentation like I do. And Ranbir, my colleague, he is based in India. And he covers Middle East and African countries and offers the same presentations like I do. Okay, so before we start writing, of course, a paper, I would like to give you some tips on how to find maybe a good topic for your any project. It could be your research project, your thesis, a topic for your thesis. So we have very basic recommendations for that. And of course, you would talk to your supervisor, your professor. You have to follow guidelines of the competition you are attending, or guidelines from your department when you are writing your thesis. It's very important that you choose on an interesting topic, what you really care about, what you're really interested in. It will be much easier to start your research project on and write your paper. And we have also some tips on that. For example, I think all of you know the IEEE Spectrum magazine. It's a great source to follow in, I don't know, maybe in telecommunication is your bigger interest, to follow those latest news. The IEEE Spectrum magazine is also reporting and publishing every year a special tech report about latest trends. And generally, I think magazines are great if you would like to first get an introduction level of knowledge, like following in magazines the features and tutorial-like articles. You know, magazine articles are different from journal articles. They are usually shorter, they don't go in that much into details, and they offer also industry news. You can also follow the society news of the IEEE, but magazines are great if you first would like to look for an interesting topic. And then later on, you would use also IEEE Explore Digital Library to limit a little bit the scope of your research, to identify maybe areas which could be important enough, maybe some gaps in research, and most of these this task you can do via properly searching IEEE Explore Digital Library. If you would like to be a successful researcher or an author, please do not use Google or something, Google for scientific research. So Google is good for looking for the next pizza place or something like this. But if you are in research, if you would like to write a paper, you have to use scientific research databases, which are actually usually listed on your library's website, which are included where you can have access, but don't use Google for such kind of searching. And you can start the searching very broad first when you would like to identify first the topic, the area of your interest. So, and I will start with this bigger field. Of course, deep learning is huge. You can start very broad in IEEE Explore. And I would first, as I mentioned, recommend to start to review first magazine articles. But very simple limitation in your search in Explore. You just select the magazine articles, and easily you can find out which are the most influential papers. Okay, in deep learning. In this example, there was a magazine article which has been cited by more than 300 other papers. So it seems to be something you should definitely check out. And you also have other ways most cited in patents. I'm not sure if you know that many of these publications are actually really having a measure. You can measure the impact of the IEEE papers. And of course, if your paper is cited, then you can also measure the impact of your paper in IEEE Explore by finding out if the paper has been cited by other papers or cited by patents. There are many US and European patents citing IEEE publications for several reasons. I will not go into details on that. So you can find out with these steps the most influential papers, and then just review or first review when you're looking for a topic, as I mentioned, magazines, and then try to browse or scroll to the result list and identify some keywords. What are coming up, like 5G wireless with deep learning, Internet of Things. Well, there are many, of course, areas on topics which are connected to deep learning, and this would be one tip to identify those topics. Definitely make notes about these topics. This will be very important for your next literature searches. So just very simple, take some notes. And in every IEEE Explore result list, on the left-hand side, you can find the most relevant topics from the whole result list. So there we have, for example, you have 2000 results, and you would like to have a quick overview. Okay, what other subcategories are also mentioned in these articles? What related terms? Maybe you will find some very interesting areas of research which you would never been thinking about before. So it makes sense to review a little bit these publication topics facet and also find related terms, related technologies there. So this is a little bit for orientation in a result list. And then at the beginning, I think it's perfectly fine if you are first reading the abstracts of the magazines, and then if you need an introduction into a certain research field, perfectly fine, maybe to look into some of the introduction part of the papers, because the introduction part of the papers typically include state of the art, like a literature overview. What do we know now about this research field? Then also you can find a problem formulation. Why is this an important problem? And how is this article different from others? So you can learn about these basics. And again, try to collect and note and make your notes about broader terms here, deep learning and machine learning and artificial intelligence, applications of the technology, so you can make yourself some notes. And then finally, when you're going into a scientific paper later, like a full research paper, in that you see here an example of a structure of a paper, and we will discuss a little bit about this later. Different IEEE journals have different templates sometimes, and very often the conclusion part is usually at the end of the paper, and very often there is a section on future scopes. So, or if there is no special section on future scopes, the conclusion part of an article very often includes hints from the authors where they think a certain research problem, what they were working on, could be followed up by others, or where authors would follow on that research. That's very often the last section of the paper. So for orientation at the first step, and to find your research field, I think it's or your interest, it's perfectly fine to start with magazines, and then the next step would be to draw a mind map of main concepts, and you organize a little bit your these areas. So you learn the introduction about deep learning, the application of deep learning. You learn about which terms are very frequently used in these deep learning. These terms will be very important for your background study searches. So these terms are important, and of course also the applications, and also to the other, because we are now in the field of deep learning in connection to photonics. You would do the same photonics related terms, the applications, and there is an option in IEEE Explore where you can find out whenever an IEEE paper has been cited by patent of a company, you can find out which companies those are via IEEE Explore. Just follow the links to the citations to patents and find out who are these companies. And you don't, of course, have to understand the whole patent, but if you have a basic idea about those companies, and you might want to cite some of the patents even in your paper when you really need examples of how technology is used, IEEE Explore can help you with that as well. So these are some tips. I think it's important to narrow down and write down a map, a concept map for a good literature review. And all successful author and successful publication, the literature review is the starting point. And for the background study, when you're going more into details, when you already have identified the problem you would like to write about, in that, here you see an advanced search example from Explore, where you can search with several keywords, synonyms. You would use the Boolean operators, or to broaden your search, and the and to narrow it down, and you can do and search in several fields of the database in the advanced search. And if you are really looking into a very long search query, I recommend to visit the command search site. This is just next to the advanced search, and here you can search the whole articles for a literature when you're searching the full text and metadata. The full text means you are searching everywhere from the introduction to the conclusion everywhere, compared to metadata, which is searching within the title, the abstract, the index terms of the publications. And just very quick, this near operator is very helpful when you have too many results. For example, with the near operator, you can set the maximum distance between keywords to make sure that they are likely in the same sentence. So you will get much better results if you are using this near operator. In this example, these keywords or phrases should be not more far away than 5 other words from each other. So that's very good for full text searching, and you can use these operators in the command search. So, and for your background study, you can identify also the key authors from the author facet on the left-hand side. And the author facets, you see here the most frequently publishing authors. And if you click on the name of the person, or you limit your search, you can identify and see author profile of this author, Mr. Danshi Wang. And so you see here, he is an important expert in this field. I would recommend that you follow his publications. He has an author profile here in Explore, but he also has an ORCID ID. This is an identification for authors, and you can find, if you click here, all of his publications on his profile. So Vera Markovic also has such a profile in IEEE Explore. And many authors who publish frequently have such a profile. Okay, so it's good. It makes sense to follow the experts in your field. Okay, how can you follow and these? And so a very good tip, if you are logging in with your personal sign-in, also in IEEE Explore, you can save search alerts in your topic, so you can automate the searching. You will get notifications about new papers, you can, this is an example for a searched, safe search. If you would like to follow the authors, you can set author name searches. So an expert, who is the expert? You would like to follow his publications or her publications, and content alerts as well for journals and magazines. So let's say you would like to follow the IEEE Spectrum magazine or others, you can set content alerts with this personal account. Very important for writing papers is citations and reference lists. So you have to collect the literature and you have to track the literature you're using, because you would like to avoid that you accidentally forget to cite something which you read somewhere and you forget that that's maybe not your own idea. So track these citations in different citation manager programs and different formats. Also, IEEE Collaboratech has a library where you can download citations. So basically, there you can build your own library of papers, or BibTeX is your preference. There are many different citation manager programs around, also Mendeley, Zotero, I think these are for free. And there you can download the citations. And in these citation manager programs, you can create a reference list, for example, in IEEE style, because that is very likely required for the contest as well. So you can generate this automatically, that it looks nice as IEEE requires for your submission for the paper contest. So saving searches and saving citations, it's recommended. If you are only using IEEE Explore, we have this new feature, My Research Projects, where you can set up different folders and save all these papers what you would like to cite in your conference paper into one folder. Yeah, this would be an option. There are no questions, right? This is, or if there are any, okay, then you would know, let me know. Okay, so let's move now generally how to select your target publication. Of course, for this contest, you have already the conference. That's your goal. That's the Melecon conference, right? And but generally, if you are planning to submit your paper to an IEEE conference or an IEEE journal, it is important that if you are submitting an article to a journal just to publish or just to submit, sorry, at one target journal at the same time. So it's unfortunately not possible to submit the article at several journals and just wait who is accepting. That is not ethical. It will be editors and the reviewers' time would be wasted, and it's considered unethical. So, but of course, it's okay to have a list of target journals where you would like to submit. How can you find those journals? IEEE is publishing more than 200 journals. IEEE is organizing more than and co-sponsoring and sponsoring 1,600 different conferences. How would you know which one is a great conference to start with? So first of all, we have this tool, the IEEE Publication Recommender, which could be helpful for you to check out. Of course, for the student paper contest, you have just one target, that's the contest. So this is where you submit. But if you would, in the future, submit an article at a journal or a conference, feel free to use the IEEE Publication Recommender, where you can include a search term or include keywords into your search, or a whole abstract which will extract keywords. And in this example, my search was machine learning. So I'm looking for target periodicals. These are journals or magazines at the IEEE in that field. And I have several results. I can see, does this journal offer an open access publishing option? Does the journal have an impact factor? And how is the average time between submission to publication in IEEE Explore? And then you can check out, these are several one. And then you have to read the aim and scope of the journal as well. And below the periodicals, there will be the conferences listed, the IEEE conferences relevant to machine learning. And you can sort them by conference date, by country. I think nowadays the majority of them are taking place either virtually or hybrid. So check out with the conference organizer if you have to attend the conference, or is it virtual? Sometimes it's a good, actually, if it's hybrid or virtual, it's a great opportunity to start to publish conference papers. But you have to be available at the time of the conference, because you have to present your article. Yeah.
Esther?
Yes.
So we can also remind everyone that I would like to remind everyone they can leave their comments and questions on the chat during your presentation, because we will address their questions at the end. I know you referred a while ago, so that's why I just wanted to make this reminder to everyone, so we can make it interactive, because we will address their questions at the end of your presentation.
Great, yes.
Thank you very much, please.
Yeah, and there was also a Menti, I think, a quiz. If you like to enter where you're from or what's your topic of interest, that would be just for me interesting to know.
Shall we share that Menti link right now and see who is answering?
I'm not sure if they are. I hope it's okay.
We didn't share yet, so let's give a little break.
Yes.
And make it interactive and continue your presentation. Have a little warm up.
Yes.
And I shared this link on the chat, everyone.
Okay.
I know quite many of you are watching right now.
Okay.
Please find out on the chat, and I will send this one if you're watching from Facebook or LinkedIn, if you're not on YouTube. So I'll also copy the same link to everywhere, so we can have a little break for warm up, and later we'll continue with your presentation. And of course address their questions at the end, so everyone can make sure this is an interactive workshop format as a live event. So we are hearing your questions and we will be addressing your questions too. So
Okay.
the link is already shared.
Yes. Okay. Great. So I should continue now, and then we will check with
Absolutely.
the. Okay.
We will check it at the end.
Okay.
So,
great. So I know that Vera has already touched on this in her previous presentation about the structure of a paper. So I will not go into details on this. I will just give you some suggestions or recommendations. So if you like, you can enter into the chat what you think. What is the recommended, or for maybe no other question? How would you start, and where would you start to write the paper? And even if it's a thesis, even a thesis has a very similar structure. So here you see the basic structure. Where would you start your own paper, conference paper, or thesis? So do you start with the title, right around the title? Do you start with references or any other portions of the article? Would be interesting to know. Okay, there are different ways actually, and many students start actually with the abstract. That is maybe not the best to start with, because the abstract is basically summarizing the key points of your article. So we would recommend to at least finalize it at the end after you finished the whole article. I know that many of you need kind of an abstract, like an orientation, and of course that's great to have like a draft or something, but that the abstract is not something you start with, or at least please go back, visit it later, and rewrite it. So there are basically two recommendations from some IEEE journal editors to start with the introduction of the paper. The introduction section includes the review of the existing literature, to position your search in the field, to show the novelty of your research. And you will here also describe the goal of your research, or at least what questions you are trying to answer, and the motivation. Why are you asking that question? So very, very basic of the introduction. Why is it important? What's the problem formulation? And how is it different from already published articles, already published research paper? But I think for this contest, it doesn't have to be an original research paper, but okay. But just generally, the introduction is one portion or part where you could start. Another recommendation could be to start right in the middle. That is the approach, or also called the methodology section of the paper. So the approach or methodology section of the paper is where you describe what you did in your research, how you did it, and without interpretation or analysis. So simply describing what you did and how you did it. And this will be this is an important part, of course, of the paper. For many of you, this is maybe the easiest because you did a research project, you know very well what you did, and you can start with that part of the paper. At the IEEE publications, and I think also for conference paper, there is an option to submit supplemental items to your paper to prove the reproducibility of your research. For example, by submitting corresponding research data sets in IEEE's Dataport, or you could also submit or upload later the corresponding algorithms or codes to your research. So this is actually helpful, and for the readers as well. Okay, and then you continue with the results section, and at the end or after that, you go into the discussion section where you are describing what actually your results mean. The conclusion section, you can in this section you can highlight potential broader application of your research or areas of that need further study. This is what I mentioned previously. Of course, so very basic, these are what is included in that section. Introduction, approach, result, discussion, conclusion. Of course, we could say the reference list is something that you start with, because in the reference section is actually all the scientific and technical research cited, where you are building your research. So basically the literature review is where the whole writing process starts, and you are here in the references, you're giving credits to authors who are published. You would reference only works which directly support your work, and you have to follow the IEEE style of citation. I have mentioned you can use citation manager programs where you can convert the references into IEEE citation style. And the abstract, I mentioned better if you are finalizing that at the end, because the abstract is a mini version of your whole paper. Please don't start to write abstract like, in this paper we are describing that and that. That's not the best way to start. Just go right into the what is the problem, what was the problem you are addressing, what is the research you conducted, the results obtained, and the conclusion reached. And all this you have to describe in 250 words or even less. And the abstract does not contain references or equations and such. And then finally, the title is where you would write down several versions of variation. There you have to think about the proper keywords you would like to include. Remember my previous slides about how to identify those keywords, those technical phrases. And the title is basically giving the focus of your article. It should be specific enough, descriptive, and short and concise, usually 10 to 15 words, and you can develop different versions and then just decide for the best one. Okay, so what is the peer review process? Your conference or your paper will be blind reviewed, as I understood. That means that there will be several experts who are going to read your article and give a critical assessment. And this is one of the definitions what peer review is: the critical assessment of manuscripts submitted to publications or conference by experts who are not part of the editorial staff. The review acts as a filter to make sure that the content of the paper is vetted. They will check for many criteria what they are looking for, and this is usually how a peer review works. This could be different from journal to journal, and just basically, I would go a little bit quicker on this. So basically, they are independent reviewers, experts who are going to write a review recommendation about your article and make a recommendation, in this case for a journal, for the assistant editor, and the editor-in-chief will issue the final decision. Usually, if you're accepted, then you have to follow the other publishing process. If you have a revision, that means you have to send back your article And it will go again to the review, where you have to follow exactly the reviewer's comments, point by point, and correct the article. If your article is rejected by a journal, that's not tragedy. Basically, you get the use the feedback from the reviewers in your article, and you improve your article, and then maybe submit it to another journal. Okay, so this was very briefly, but what are these the reviewers and editors? What are they actually checking? First of all, generally they would stack for the journals. They would, of course, check if the journal scope fits to the submitted publication. Then they would check if the reported methods in your paper and the rationale are valid and accompanied by appropriate supporting data and references. So basically, they will check how the methodology is described. Does it make sense? Does it make sense how you get the result? Could this be reproducible by others? The novelty of your research, is this an original material which is different from previous published papers? The importance, is this important enough to get published? Is it are the ideas expressed clear and concisely? And of course, who could be how it could be beneficial for others, the publication's readers. Would they want to read it? And then finally, they will check the compliance, or the submission requirements of the IEEE has to be met, of course, avoiding plagiarism and so on. So this is very, very basic overview about what reviewers and editors are checking when they receive your article. Okay, so the open access, the open access, what is open access? I will just included here one slide about this. Basically, open access, when you publish your journal article, and we have the IEEE open access option only for journals, then your article is made freely available and it's accessible for everyone on IEEE Explorer without a pay-per-view fee or subscription or such or something similar. The open access publishing is supported by so-called article processing charges or open access charges, which are usually taken care of by the institution or the research fund of the author. And open access also means that the publisher is not the copyright holder of the published open access article, but it is the author who holds the copyright, and the author gives quite liberal user rights to the readers, for example, about how they may reuse the articles or or build upon your work. So they will have much more liberal rights, but it's the author who is the copyright holder of the article. Okay, so that's these are the basic benefits. We know from studies that open access articles can get many more citations. You can also support open science in other ways by publishing code, algorithms, research data corresponding to your article. So, and open access is very important, I think, in especially in Europe, in many European countries. Yeah, okay, that's about open access. And finally, when your paper is published, so let's say you paper, a conference paper or a journal article is published, many of these the journal articles, they support graphical abstracts, which actually is a visual summary of your journal article, and a great way to enhance your paper. Or you can also submit videos, video abstracts or supplemental videos to your paper. It's also a great way to engage the readers. Maybe it's also a different way of a communication channel. Some of them are, they need a break sometimes to reading articles. They prefer to listen or see your video abstract, and you would upload these and share them on social media, on Facebook, LinkedIn, and you could also attract readers to your article this way via video abstract, video and graphical abstract, and of course posting about your article in social media. Okay, so this was the overview about the basics of getting published with the IEEE. If you have additional questions, here is my email address. And if you have any questions related to authorship at the IEEE, please reach out to authors@ieee.org. And just very quickly, I would also like to share, wow, now we have, great. This link, the Author Center, I will share this with Simai, I think, and then
we'll copy on the chat.
Yeah. So this is the Author Center. This is your main go-to site, if you like. And let's move to the next question. And on that site, you can find nice video tutorials to follow up after my presentation on writing your article, reviewing an article, and everything you have to know about publishing. Yeah. Oh yes, and we have this in different languages, but these are updated usually and are available in English. Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much. That was such an insightful content, and you know, just like there are lots of tips, and you know, I just want to ask. So if there is any question, we already posted on the chat. Don't hesitate to ask your questions through chat. We will also, you know, just like address your questions, and you can just introduce yourself, say hi, and comment. Because it's an opportunity for you. I would like to also welcome Vera back, so we can actually address your questions together.
I'm here.
Yes.
all the time.
Yes, you're always here.
Thanks, Esther, for this excellent presentation.
Thank you.
I think, very, very useful. It is important that this presentation could be seen by a lot of future researchers.
Yeah, thank you. I tried. Excellent. We have, yes, regularly such kind of webinars. Yeah, and then I hope to help PhD students at least and master students to get successful or be successful in publishing. Okay. If there are no questions yet, I would just quickly show you how your paper will be visible in IEEE Explore. Is that okay?
Yes.
So basically, this conference, Mediterranean Electrotechnical Conference, is organized, as I see, every second year. And next year will be the next conference, and it means your paper will be visible and searchable in IEEE Explore and among the papers of the conference. So this is the complete list of all the papers, and your paper will be here listed, and you can download them here. I mean, others can use it, read it. And IEEE Explore is used by many technical universities, even many corporations daily. They use the IEEE Explore Digital Library. And these papers are not only in IEEE Explore, but many of them are indexed in other databases, scientific databases like Scopus, Web of Science. So it gives even a broader visibility of the research papers.
That's very useful to know as well. And we still have no questions. I'm seeing a lot of people are watching. Don't be shy. Don't hesitate to ask your questions. Okay. So there's one question coming from Isaac Prah. Hi, Isaac. You can ask your questions.
Okay, if there are no questions, I will show again something.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I think. Sorry, not Isaac. He's just like still typing. That's why we're reading his question.
Yeah. Okay.
Meanwhile, we can show.
So if you are in the IEEE Explorer or IEEE.org, on the top of the page there, you can see the IEEE Spectrum magazine, which I think most of you know. And this is what I was mentioning to here. You can explore some topics if you're looking for topics. They have special reports on new tech areas, or what they think the top tech areas are this year or coming. So you can check these out on the IEEE more sites, under the Spectrum magazine sites when you're coming from IEEE Explore.
All right. So we received a comment question from Isaac. Kindly throw more light on the references section.
Okay. So what I was, let's say what we have here. So I think because we have not so much time for this, I would recommend to follow up with this video, citing sources appropriately. So I can maybe share this in the chat.
Okay, then we'll copy it down.
So usually conference papers, they do include less citations compared to journal articles. You would cite articles which are directly supporting your work, and you would not, I'm not sure if there is a maximum, but usually, well, in average, maybe 30 citations for a journal article. Conferences, I would say, are less citations. And as I mentioned, everything which directly supports your work, do not use just to inflate the citations, only citations to, I don't know, Nature and Science. You have to know the literature, in which journals, which conferences they are published. They have to be relevant, and you have to be also recent, from the last 2 years. The IEEE citation style, you can see on the template, I guess, what you are receiving. I hope you received a template for the for this competition. If not, we have here on the Author Center, if we scroll down, under Author Tools, we have the IEEE template selector. And there you go. And I think the conference papers templates you can download in Word Word or LaTeX, okay? And here you can see the IEEE citation style. And oh, where's my download? I cannot find it. So okay, so download template. Yeah, sorry. Okay. So there you will see the citation style, the IEEE style. Another tip is when you are using IEEE Explorer and you are searching in IEEE Explorer how you download these citations into Collabratech. Collabratech is an IEEE tool. I mentioned they have there is a library where you can save the citations. So you basically select the citations, export them in different formats, and one of them is Collabratech. And for that, you need to be logged in with your personal sign-in. Sorry. And you can save those citations there. And you can convert them into different styles: Chicago style, MLA style. But for the IEEE publications, you would use the IEEE citation style. Just very quick about citations and references. We don't have time, I guess, for more into detail.
It was already a good direction, Sarah, and you just referenced, just the important information already.
Yeah.
So that already has enlightened the question. I just want to ask Vera, do you have any comments or feedback to or question before we summarize?
I was thinking about a thing. You started from explanation that it is very important to use, for instance, IEEE Explorer as the base of papers and not Google for starting research. But what when people have no access to IEEE Explorer? For instance, in my country, the higher education institutions dealing with education in electrical engineering don't have paid access to IEEE Explorer.
Yeah.
And I think this is a big obstacle to researchers.
Yes, but yes, you're right. That's actually why this whole open access movement is very important.
Yes.
Because that will solve that as well. We have currently a little portion in IEEE Explorer published in open access. That means no one needs a subscription for that content to access. So, and this filter is always here on the left-hand side when you are searching. You can always reach to find this out. Another option, and there would be if your library has interlibrary loan. So you could go to the library and they could get the article. If that's not possible, you can always write also to the author. The author can help you maybe with a copy. And another option is sometimes a different version of the paper is published somewhere else, a different version, like accepted version of the paper, or in this case, the preprint version of the paper, which is a very early version, which is not yet peer-reviewed. Okay, so the IEEE has this tech archive for preprint papers, and for accepted papers, you can use other like archive or other servers, preprint servers, to have access. And there are also social media channels where you can find the author, maybe to give you a copy of the article, or interlibrary loan. Yeah, so there are many legal options to get the access. That's
yes,
my point.
yes, but still access to IEEE Explore is the best way. My experience being on some other universities is that it is excellent because of his searching possibilities. It is really a right way to start into research, but unfortunately, not all have these possibilities.
Yes, but some students, they don't even know that their library subscribe and they could have access.
True.
Yeah. So I know that, for example, in Turkey and Greece, most of them have access, but maybe they don't know how to access from home.
Yes.
Yeah. So talk to the library first. I think that's a good point, or the good first step, and then open access. Hopefully, in 10 years, we will have a different situation with open access then.
Yes, maybe this topic should be considered in IEEE. I think it is very important.
Yes. Yeah. But just for your information, there are several countries where IEEE has agreements where authors are publishing only open access. So they just recently started. Sorry, I wanted to show you them. There are, for example, Finland, Ireland, but also United Kingdom, Greece, some Hungary and Germany as well, United Arab Emirates. There we have agreements. That means the majority of what they publish in journals with the IEEE will be open access, and you don't need a subscription to have access to those papers. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Yes. You're welcome.
Thank you so much, Vera and Esther. It was really fruitful webinar today. You know, like as you said, you know, it was a way. It was just 1 hour to empower the future scientists and future researchers, and today's researchers as well, because you know, like they're already here with us as started their journey, and we're glad to be part of your journey. Whoever is watching us now, we are very glad to be part of your journey. I hope it will be a good impact in your life. And here are the contact informations as well. So, and for the Region 8 Student Activities Committee channels, please don't forget to subscribe if you're watching and if you haven't subscribed yet, because we will continue our presentations and webinars. And don't hesitate to reach Esther and us for any further question. So we're about to finalize this session. So I want to ask your last comments, final words, Esther and Vera, and we will close.
My last comment is that next oral finals at Student Paper Contest 2022 will be at Melecon. You use Melecon as an example at Melecon 22. And students are invited to send their papers. The deadline is December the 1st. So submit your papers.
This is very important deadline, and it's time to get prepared. You have enough time, and that's why we are here to support you, and we are looking forward to your applications. We are so excited. And Esther?
Yeah, I was, well, I just hope that many of you will attend this session. Don't worry if you don't win it at the first time. Writing an article is definitely will help you to improve your writing skills, and it's definitely beneficial and will help you also for your future, for your CV. So please attend this competition. Especially it is in Italy, the next conference.
In Palermo, Sicily.
Yes, it's Sicily.
Yes.
Yes.
So, we're looking forward.
Yeah, sounds really exciting. Yeah.
Well, we're excited to hear and see your applications first. So don't forget the deadline. And we're looking forward to meet with finalists. Again, as you said, Esther, it's a journey. So like, it's not about winning, because it's all about learning. And here, whoever is, you know, like interested in getting prepared So you're also learning for your own journey, and don't miss this opportunity.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you so much for this
Thank
valuable
you.
information. And have a wonderful day, night, everyone, wherever you are. I hope you will keep watching all our webinar series and looking forward to see you in the future one.
Thanks. Bye.